Always great chatting with the gentleman, Josh Hill, who's going to be back in action against Raufeon Stots at Bellator 258 on May 7th. Josh, what's going on, man? How are you?
I'm good, bro. I'm good. How are you?
Doing well. Not as good as you, though, man. You're in California, living it up, training at Team Alpha Male. I wanted to start there first. How long have you been out there?
A couple weeks now. I'm actually debating on it right now. I might stay and just kind of finish my whole camp here. Originally, I was supposed to come home, but as we were talking a little bit before this, Ontario is a disaster right now. So I'm just kind of debating that right now, whether I should go home and kind of deal with all the bullshit or just kind of stay here. And, it's always good here.
Yeah, no, for sure. And I know obviously you're away from the family and all that, so it can be a little difficult. So hopefully it all works out. We'll see what happens there. But one thing I wanted to ask you, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, you were supposed to fight Raufeon back in November of last year. You ended up fighting Keith Lee. Was it an injury that took you out of that? I was trying to remember what exactly happened there.
Yeah, I had a back injury that just it's been kind of ongoing for a little bit, but it kind of took me out of commission for a few months. Actually, I couldn't train at all. So it's finally better now, and I'm back to regular full training and full strength. But yeah, it lingered for a while, man, a lot longer than I thought.
When were you able to get back to training? Like, how long did it keep you out for? You said a couple months, but when did you get back in the gym?
Yeah, it started in October, and then I would say it wasn't until probably like January, February, that I actually felt like, pretty good and, good enough to go. So, but this whole camp, it's held up and it feels good.
Excellent. And also a little bit of an easy negotiation, I would imagine. You guys have the same management, right? So I'm sure that's easier putting a fight together. Yeah,
we're both with Sucker Punch with Brian. So, it's just how it is. It's, I figure we're going to fight each other sooner or later, you know what I mean? So it's kind of unavoidable.
Before we talk about the fight, the rankings, they got you at number 7. You happy with that, or do you feel like you're not getting enough respect here?
No, I'm not happy with that. But like rankings, I've said it before. I think they're all they don't mean anything really. You look at the UFC rankings; they never go by them really. It's just a number there to kind of just add a little bit more marketing value, I think, towards your name. But yeah, I definitely think I should be in at least the top 5. I think. Mm-hmm. There's a couple guys. I know Magomedov is number 6. I've seen, and he only had one fight in the promotion. I've had 2. But I mean, it doesn't really matter. I'm fighting Stots. I think he's number 3 or 4. I can't.
He's 4. Yeah, I was looking 4. On there. So yeah.
So a win over him, that'll put me in the top, top few anyway. So we'll see what happens.
Well, and I talked to Raufeon this week, and he kind of said this. Do you feel like this is the battle of the dark horses? Because you guys both have good resumes, good records, and you're, like you said, not getting the respect. Is that how you feel about this as well?
Yeah, I could agree with that. Yeah, 100%. I think we're both at the top of the division, but the push is kind of behind guys like Gallagher, who he's fighting on that card too, same as me. But yeah, I would agree with that. I think me and him are the dark horses of this division, and I think whoever wins this fight, they've talked about it before. At least when we were supposed to fight last time, is probably number 1 contender for the belt. So I think it should be anyway.
Yeah, no, for sure. We'll talk about the implications in a second here, but let's talk about Stots. Obviously, good wrestling, good everywhere. I mean, he's very well rounded. How do you feel like you match up against him here?
Yeah, this is a good fight, man. We're very similar in you know what I mean? We're well rounded. He has more of a decorated wrestling background than I do, but I have no wrestling background at all. I started in mixed martial arts and just went from there. But yeah, I think this is going to be a good fight. I think I have the advantage on the feet for sure. I think we're both good grapplers, both good wrestlers. I think we're both very athletic and explosive for the division. I think I hit harder. So yeah, I think this is going to be a good one. I think I stack up well with him. But I think it will be a good fight for sure.
Talked about it off the top. You're at Team Alpha Male. I know you've been going down there for years. I want to say since even after the Ultimate Fighter, I think you've been going down there for a while.
That's when I started,
yeah, sort of back and forth. Who are you getting to work with over there? I know it's a big gym, but is there anyone you're working with a little bit more than others?
Working with a guy like Holdsworth, you know what I mean? The guy's an absolute nightmare on the ground, dealing with him. Cody's getting ready for a fight. Feely was training. He was doing the class today. There's lots of good guys out here. A lot of guys that people haven't even heard of that are just like studs in the gym that push you every day. So that's why I like coming out here, because there's always guys, even guys that aren't mainstays here. There's always new guys coming through. So there's always good rounds.
Yeah, it's a good variety over there, which is great. Did you get to train at all with Ricardo Ramos? I know his fight got called off this weekend, but I know he was down there.
Yeah, I didn't get to do anything personally with him, but yeah, he was gearing up for his, and then yeah, it sucks his fight's off this weekend.
COVID, man, it's ruining everything. But anyways, we could talk about a whole podcast on that, I'm sure. The weight cut, I imagine, is going well. I mean, you're a guy who's always keeping tabs on that. You're good with the nutrition and all that too, right?
Yeah, I mean, 35 is easy for me to make. I've thought about 25 before.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think I could do it. It would suck, but I think I could do it. But at 35, I feel good. I'm strong. I've never been in the cage where I've been like, oh my God, I'm getting outpowered and thrown around here. I feel strong and explosive at that weight class. So and I got the weight cut down, easy now. So I feel good there, man.
It's interesting, too, because there's a couple guys, I think, in Bellator's bantamweight division that might be able to make that weight class. So if they ever decide to bring it in, it would bring up a lot of interesting options there as well. So
yeah, for sure. It's weird that they don't have a flyweight division here. Yeah, I wonder if
especially with how the UFC's been dropping the ball at their flyweight division.
Yeah.
I mean, finally they get it going last year and they get a fight of the year candidate, but it just seems like they never put those fights on the main card or whatever. They never give them enough shine, so to speak, So
yeah, I totally agree.
Who's going to be in your corner for this fight?
Probably just Lyndon Whitlock.
Oh, okay, Lyndon Whitlock, nice.
Yeah, he's been. I mean, me and him go back to the grade 5 together, and he's the one that kind of actually started, got me into MMA originally. But yeah, he's been my training partner my whole career, his whole career, and then now he switched to being a coach. So nobody really knows me better than him in this game.
And one of the best in the game right now. He's doing some cornering work I saw for Aaron Jeffrey, for Jasmine. I mean, like he's traveling everywhere during this pandemic and doing it for his fighters. So I think that's awesome on his part that he's willing to, take time away from home. Although, like we were saying off air, probably good every once in a while to get out of Ontario with what's going on there, right? So
yeah, and he's had a rough go with it with COVID. With the gym, his gym being closed down. So that was one of my home stays there, Parabellum MMA. So that's really affected him for sure. But yeah, he's been at it. He's loving the coaching role and he's doing a good job.
Is the gym closed down for good, or is it just closed down during the pandemic? Like, what happened there?
Yeah, it's Parabellum itself is closed for good. But Lyndon and Lucas, another one, his business partners in the gym, they're looking to start something else. It won't be called Parabellum, but I bet you this year, or if not this year, next, there'll be something new.
How's this fight playing out on May 7th?
I've gone over this in my head 18 million different ways, but it's me with a win, that's for sure. But I could see a knockout for sure. I could see myself knocking him out in this one. First round, second round, third round could happen anytime, but yeah, man, I think there's going to be some explosive exchanges between us. I think 'cause that's for both explosive athletes, and that makes for some fun fight, man.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. Like I said, the winner of this fight puts you in a good spot. I'll tell you something interesting, just to throw a wrench in things and not to discourage you from this fight whatsoever. But I talked to Juan Archuleta yesterday, who's the champ. He's fighting Sergio Pettis, obviously, on your card. He mentioned Horiguchi. That's a name I kind of forgot of because he's over in Ryzen. So he might end up log jamming this whole thing. What do you think of that? Because, I mean, you guys have earned your keep, so to speak, in Bellator, whereas Horiguchi hasn't, he's in a different promotion, essentially.
Yeah, I forgot about him too, to be honest. But he was the champ, you know what I mean, in both promotions. I don't know I don't even know if they can come over here right now or what's going on with that. I know Riz.
Well, I think he's actually in Florida training at ATT. I could be wrong about that, but I'm pretty sure he's there. So I think him coming over wouldn't be a big deal. But yeah, we'll see. I don't know if, like I said, maybe we'll get some clarity on the broadcast that night to see sort of what the plans are for the division, right? So. Yeah,
I was hoping they were going to do a tournament originally, because I think they have such a stacked bantamweight division that could make for such a great tournament. But they ended up going with the light heavyweight tournament. I guess they can only do one per season. Really, it takes up too much time. But yeah, there's so many options at 35 right now. I think it's the best weight class in the promotion.
Downtime. I'm sure a lot of calls back home to your wife and your daughter. By the way, how old's your daughter now? I was trying to remember.
She's 2, going to be 3 in July.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. Time's flying by. Because I remember your daughter's like a year. My son's going to be 4 in September. So
that's right. Yeah.
It's all adding up. So that's good. I'm sure getting out a little bit and just doing the FaceTime calls and some Netflix in between, I would assume.
Yeah, that's my life right now. Just training. I'm not complaining. It's a break from the chaos at home. But yeah, probably like 3-4 FaceTime calls a day with her, and she figured out the filters on the phone, all the face changes. So she's just having a heyday with that.
That's good. How's the podcast going with Jason, the gentleman? The podcast that you guys are doing, how's all that going? I'm sure it's good too. While you guys aren't doing commentary right now, you guys can still, keep in touch and sort of build up that chemistry.
Yeah, that was the thing. We did commentary for BTC together. They haven't had a show in over a year because of all this craziness, but they are back now. Come in June, they say. But yeah, it's been good, man. It's just been something that we've been doing just for fun, and we'll just try and build off it and keep it going and grow it if we can. Yeah, it's just fun to sit down and talk about MMA and MMA related stuff every week.
Do you think it kind of makes you a better fighter doing a podcast and also doing the commentary? Because it really, you have to, as part of your job, to be sort of aware of what's going on in MMA, and also, got to do your research. So you got to look up stuff that I don't know if you would normally look up on your own, right?
Yeah, that'll help me. I think I'm not so much as a fighter, I don't think, but as a commentator for sure. You probably know, but you did some commentary a little recently,
Rise FC,
right?
We were the first show in Canada to be back during the pandemic.
Yeah, how'd you like it?
I loved it. Well, that's actually my 5th show with them. I've been doing it for a while, but it was first time doing it with Robin, which was really cool.
With Robin, right? Yeah, Robin's. I mean, he's one of the best to do it with.
He's the best, sure. Yeah. And Robin and I used to work together back at Fight Network in the day, so it was kind of neat to do that. And Elias, your buddy, getting the win in the main event.
Yeah.
It was. I don't know if you caught the highlights, but that's the best I've seen Elias look, I think, ever. He was amazing.
I didn't get to see it, but I heard he looked great. That's awesome, man. Good for him. That's a big win for him to come back off of the UFC.
Yeah, and kind of where I wanted to end things, kind of something we were just talking about there. I think this is going to be a big year for regional MMA in Canada because, Battlefield's back. They're doing shows on Fight Pass. You've got Unified. BTC's back as well. Rise, I think, is going to try and do another event here in the summer, or at least soon. How important is that? Because, this is better than anyone. If you wanted to fight before, especially in Ontario, before BTC, there really wasn't much, or you'd have to go fight for TKO, right?
This year has been I feel bad for the guys that are trying to work their way up on the regional scene, because I was there one time. I'm lucky enough that I'm signed with Bellator, that I've had fights during the pandemic and still been able to make a living. But a lot of guys, all they're doing is training, and they can't get fights. The fights they can get, they got to fly themselves there, pay for everything, end up costing them money. It's been brutal for the regional scene. So I'm happy to see the shows starting to come back now, because that stuff that's a ripple effect, and that'll affect later in years. Some guys that might have worked their way out, that now they might have to go get a job, and they can't train as much, or they quit altogether. It could have some serious consequences. So regional scene, it's so important.
Yeah, no, it is. And again, I've always said this, the talent's there in Canada. It's just a matter of getting those opportunities. So like you said, if you can get, promotions back up and running, as opposed to having to go to the States, which a lot of these fighters are doing. In your case, obviously you have to anyways, because it's in Bellator, right? So we'll see what happens there. Josh, thanks so much for doing this, man. Really appreciate it. Anyone you want to thank, any sponsors, any social media, I'll give you the last word.
Yeah, thank all my sponsors. I got so many to mention. I'll forget somebody and
post them on social media, though. That's where they can see.
That's
them,
it. Yeah, exactly. That's all you do for sure. But yeah, thank you to all my training partners, my wife and my kids back home and family, and everybody that's been supportive during this whole time, and everybody that's trying to hold it together during all this craziness. I feel your pain, and it sucks, but hopefully, especially where I'm from, Ontario, it's a shit show right now. But hopefully, things are going to get better. So, shout out to all those people that are just kind of hanging on.